well.
Pretty well? Reaction was pretty good?
Yeah. Everyone, it seemed like everyone enjoyed it, and from what I've seen briefly of the internet response, it seems like everyone's excited. So, yeah.
Are your nails? Did you match your nails?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're technically different, but they kind of look the same right now.
Oh yeah, I love
One's slightly
that.
darker.
And so which
They were
one?
from the Gaga concert. I was like, I have to do them like.
I thought
red.
you were doing like one for Hazbin and one for.
Oh no, that would have been smart though. They still
Let's
work.
just, no,
They
we're gonna
still
edit
work.
it to say that. That's what you did.
This was totally planned.
Yes.
Not Gaga related at all.
Also, good. Like I wanted to see Gaga, so I'm happy you did
It's
get
so
to
good.
see her.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
So I have a question. I just asked Brandon, and he said that he kind of challenged me. So now I have to ask all you guys: what character do you relate to in the Hellaverse?
Oh, I mean, I'm the creator, so I'm kind of a part of all of them. There's definitely a bit of me in all of them. I would say the most probably at this point is Charlie. I feel like I've put a lot of personality from myself into Charlie, especially in season 2.
Okay.
I think that the arc that Charlie goes into in season 2 without giving too much away really mirrors my own experience being a female creator on the internet. Obviously a very different context, but just having to kind of constantly feel defensive and have to justify yourself. I think that there was a determination and a stubbornness and a resilience that I put into her, and specifically season 2 and its plot with Vox that came from a very real place. But I feel like all the characters have like a little bit of me in them. Vaggie also originally was a character that I very heavily related to, just as a character that is very ride or die for people, but also like kind of has a temper that can kind of get a little out of control, and just so I feel like those two lead characters have like a lot of DNA of my personality in them, which I think makes them easy to write.
Do you feel vulnerable because of that? Like
sometimes. I mean, obviously, like I feel like I have a pretty decent job of like separating like fully myself from a character.
Yes.
Like none of the characters are fully me. It's more like experiences. Like another one is that I've spoken about at cons is in Helluva Boss. In season 3, Millie has a big storyline that I put directly from my life, like in terms of like an experience with someone or someone's. Like it's not based on one particular experience, but kind of like a lot of different experiences that I've had with certain kinds of people. And so I gave her this storyline that really resonated with me. But like Millie's nothing like me as a character. And so I feel like that's kind of like the kinds of things I put into the characters. It's like real lived experiences and real feelings and emotions. Like some of it also is like with Via, I put a real, like the Lululand episode was very inspired by a real experience I had with my father. And obviously it was not one-to-one, and Solus is nothing like my dad. But it's one of those things where I think the realness of experience is what makes characters feel as alive as they are. But what I also feel is very vital is keeping characters.
Yes.
And keeping them fictional, and keeping them separate from myself. So that's why there's a little bit of me in every character, and some have more experiences of me, some have more personality traits of me, some have aspirations of me, but all of them ultimately are their own identity.
Okay, my last one. I promise. I'm so happy you said the Lulu episode. That's what I'm fairly new to the Hellaverse, but that was the episode that like, oh, I have to expand and become part of this. The "You Will Be Okay" song, like.
Yes.
That was just so beautiful how it was done. And how did you kind of incorporate that now that you said that it was kind of like an experience? Because it was a dark episode, but yet that song is so touching.
So genuine. Yeah. I think that episode was very important to me because even though the show is a raunchy comedy and a workplace, like, it really is about Blitz and it's about the relationships and about the characters. And so that episode was the first one where obviously we explore Stolas, who's like kind of a really, really important character in Blitz's story. And I really wanted it to be more real and be more emotional and show that the show was going to be about that as well. And that was going to be an important part of it. And as the show goes on, it leans more and more into the more emotional side of its story. And so, that was very important to me to like have as early on as it was. And the song was one that, like, obviously I just wanted it to be a really nice lullaby to a daughter. And Sam Haft really went all out and made it this gorgeous song. And I know he wrote it from a place of like almost writing it to his children.
Yeah.
So it came from a very real place as well. And I think that's what resonated it so much.
Yeah, definitely a hooker.
Amazing.
Jumping off your question about relating to the characters, have there been moments where you've had to kind of like take a step back and be like, oh, this moment is too much me, I need to kind of like back off, and kind of off of that, are there ways you keep seeing that you kind of like work with editors to kind of like clear your vision, to make sure it's your vision, but also, you know, that it comes across?
That's a good question. I mean, so far, no. So far, I don't think anything I've put in is so me that there's not a character anymore, and it's like too me. So thankfully, not yet. But for the editing and stuff, so far, like, I'm kind of the lead editor on the show. So like, I do the radio play, I do the initial animatic edit. And so I feel like I'm pretty good at getting the vision there, and then from there though I take a step back and let other people take it, whether it be the board director or the animation director or the art director. Like, I kind of just let someone else like helm from there, and then I just kind of chisel when I need to.
No follow-up?
I have a different subject, so if you have a follow-up.
Oh, no, follow-up, no. But we were kind of talking before we started the interviews. So, of course, if someone were, philosophically here, if someone were to die here, they could either go up or down to heaven or hell.
Yeah.
So, after the battles or anything happens when, I don't know if it'll be explored later, what happens to those souls that are killed if they already in heaven or in hell? Like, do they...
That's a good question. It's definitely something that we potentially will explore, so I can't definitively answer, but I think that's what kind of makes the stakes so high, is that there is like essentially a second death in the show. I kind of, the closest thing I can reference, even though it's not what I got it from, and I'm sure it's existed in other media, but almost like in Coco, it's like you can just cease to exist. And I feel like that that reality is very it's very scary to me, and I feel like it in some ways it's even scarier than people dying. Like, that's why in Helluva Boss we treat death so trivially, because in this universe we know that they'll end up in either heaven or hell, so we don't feel as bad when people die from the imps, or at least I don't. But I think that in Hazbin and in Helluva, when people die, there's, even if we do it in a comedic way, there's a much more dark tone to that, because it's a little bit more finite. So yeah.
How do you feel that you created a whole universe? Like, that's a lot of power, girl. You just you kind of just created fandom, a universe.
It's crazy. I mean, it's cool to me, because I'm kind of, I feel like I'm a person, I have ADHD, I have a kind of a constantly moving brain and imagination. I've been telling stories since I was a kid. I would just ramble off stories to my grandparents and my family. And so I feel like, and I had a webcomic where I was just constantly adding stories in and creating new characters and just more and more. And so I feel like it's very, like, creating a universe feels just very full circle to me. Like, it's like, it feels like the realization of what I've been doing my whole life. And it's really meaningful to me to have people not only love this universe, but love, this universe as much as I do. Like, it feels like the passion and the love and the fandom is so palpable, and like, I'm as big of a fan of the show as I am like the creator of it. And so obviously I'm always holding myself to like tell the best story I can, but like, I think I always am like, oh, the fans are going to enjoy this because I enjoy this, you know, like, I'm at my truest heart, I love romance and I love character dynamics and relationships, and I know that's a huge part of fandom, and so I'm like, oh, I know people are going to love this because every character dynamic is in a way explored and fun, and some of them get very juicy and meaty, which is also fun.
Yeah, so you knew it was going to take off when you...
I didn't know, but I feel like the DNA of me, like, I've just been part of fandom. I know what the feelings are, And so I feel like when it did, it was probably just because me as somebody who grew up in fandom was like, I want to make a show that like has all the things that we only have in fandom. The show never gives us, the show never gives us queer relationships. The show never gives us stories that kind of like start as comedy but get deeper, and you know what I mean, and a lot of the shows that I loved that were huge influences, they were very surface level comedies. So I think being able to like tell an actual story really also resonates with people a lot.
Well, on the subject of universes, so this Hazbin, this Helluva, huge things ahead for them. Hypothetically, if you were to do a third show in the Hellaverse, what might it look like?
That's a really good question, and it's absolutely something I've thought about, and I know exactly what I would do. And I guess the safest answer is I feel like we've explored heaven and hell, which is Hazbin, the classic, Lucifer and the angels and the Adam and Eve story and things like that. That's what Hazbin is. And then Helluva Boss was the way to explore the Hellborn side. What do imps look like? What do hellhounds look like? What are the 7 deadly sins? So it's exploring like the hell society and the hellborn society. And so we've got kind of the two big parallels in hell. And so to me, the most natural part of this universe that we haven't fully explored is the earth side. And dealing with, things like, the inner demons or possession or like things that affect humanity. And I feel like to me, that's like the side of the universe we haven't explored. And I would love to tell a story there. So we'll see what happens.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you. Which Gaga concert did you go to? Vegas?
I went
Hey,